Happy Monday to you, YouTube, wherever and whenever you're at. I hope you're having a good day. Except, in reality, I'm making a very lame joke because today is actually, according to the calendar, it is Wednesday. So why do I call it Monday? Well, because today is my first actual day of work this week. Got home late Friday night, set up for Halloween Saturday and most of Sunday. Executed a very successful trick-or-treat on Sunday. Hope everyone else had a good Halloween. I know I enjoyed mine. And then Sunday night, and then Monday was all about tearing down from Halloween. And then I find out that we have a family situation emerging that needed my assistance, and so I needed to take off Tuesday to help address that. And so that was Tuesday, which means that my week is starting off later than I wanted it to, and I am nowhere near as rested as I would like to be, considering how long it is since I've been in my truck to actually drive. It's been 4 days off the road. I mean, it was nice to not be driving, but on the other hand, I was wall to wall, so I wasn't really relaxing at all. I was busy the entire time, but that is life, and that is just how life is sometimes. So, why am I calling today Monday? Again, it's the first day of the week, and I wanted to get on here and yammer after I just got loaded up, and I'm fixing to head on down the road here from Wisconsin, looking to go east. Really, what I wanted to talk about, aside from a little bit of yammering, is I wanted to say congratulations to the Atlanta Braves for your first World Series victory since 1995. I can recall when I was a wee laddie, there used to be infomercials or those made-for-TV offers on different channels every now and again. Get your special edition Atlanta Braves World Series Championship package with all this collectible stuff in it. And, you know, watching them win the World Series last night, it's like, all right, it's kind of a bit of a throwback. I wonder if, TNT or whoever is going to put up the commercials from, way back when, with the ultra tan guy, I forget his name, might have been Bobby Cox for all I know. I really have no idea. Commercial names, about like 30 years ago, even though it wasn't. It might as well have been 30 years ago. 25, 26, whatever, close enough. Anyway, so the Atlanta Braves won their first World Series in 26 years. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to Atlanta for bamboozling everyone. Oh, they're not going to win. There's no way they can win. Oh, look, they won. You give credit where credit is due, and Atlanta deserves a lot of credit for knocking off the Astros, which, according to the internet memes, was everyone's preferred advantage. They did not blow a lead. They held the lead. They almost looked like they might have started to let us slip away like they did against Tom Brady and the Patriots in Super Bowl, whatever that was. They blew a 28-3 lead that Atlanta will not forget for a long time, because the internet will not let them ever forget that epic meltdown. And then, of course, there's other memes about Atlanta blowing leads late. The poor Falcons had to relive that ignominy several times over the last few years when they would blow late leads in football games. It's just one of those things. You feel bad for them, but that is sports. Sometimes that's just the way things happen. Some other wins and losses from Tuesday. Virginia and New Jersey had themselves a pair of elections. And the results of those, as last I heard, the New Jersey result has not yet been officially called one way or the other. However, the Virginia result is in, and Glenn Youngkin has beaten Terry McAuliffe for the governorship of Virginia. McAuliffe has officially conceded And Virginia has also made some history. Congratulations to them for electing their very first female and black lieutenant governor. Well done there. So a bit of progress, even though progressives themselves are not happy about the results in Virginia, as one would expect. The tone-deaf media article headlines from the different sources illustrate just how deeply disconnected the political elite and the media elite are from the rank-and-file working Americans, whom I like to believe I am a part of, even though in some cases I wish I was anything but. I'm sure as we all do and have done. So there's that. So a Republican governor will win, almost certainly, barring some other sudden reveal of 2020-esque madness, which at this point is not likely, but who knows? I'm sure someone is clinging to some false hope. Well, maybe they'll turn it over because of some, mess at this ballot machine or whatever, because we all have irrational hope for different things at different times. It's just the way of the world. New Jersey is interesting. I know very little about New Jersey politics. I recall not being especially impressed with Chris Christie back in the day. But he did some good things, I'm sure. I also know he got involved in some not so great things, because that is just the nature of politics. You cannot keep your hands clean. It is impossible, because politics is perhaps the dirtiest of the dirty jobs in the world, and people pursue it because it brings access to the corridors of power, and those who have wealth and money and influence are those who can be accessed by politicians, because the wealthy and the powerful need politicians to actually get what they want done, and the politicians need the wealthy and the powerful to support them. So it's just the cycle at this point never ends. And for me right now, with the exception of when I step into the voting booth on any given election that I can participate in, I am on the outside looking in, along with literally over 300 million other people in the US of A. That's just the way of the world. Until it's time for us to have the opportunity to vote on something, we are literally on the outside looking in, and we just have to hope in a lot of ways that those who we have elected to carry out our bidding will actually do what they promised to do to earn our vote in the first place. And very few of them actually have the ability to follow through. And in other cases, when they actually do attempt to follow through, it ends up costing them whatever influence, power, or prestige they have. And they end up losing their next election bid. So though they tried, they ended up failing because the string pullers and whatever facet of government, or however you think things are actually happening, decided that was not the opportune time for whatever it was that particular candidate or official was bringing to the table. And it's just the way it is, from a certain point of view. But the tides of politics are ever shifting, ever mercurial. But I will say this, I am deeply concerned about the anti-business platform that it seems most Democratic candidates are embracing, because as a truck driver, but also literally a rolling small business as an owner-operator of a semi-truck, Democrat policies in different states that I travel through, and work in, and work through, that does affect my bottom line. That does affect how I can do business. That does affect what I need to do business in given states. And there are a lot of policies that have a negative effect on business as a whole, whether it is taxation policies or restrictions on the types of business that can be conducted, the requirements for freight carriers, EPA regulations, at the state level, and how they interpret them according to their own decisions on what they feel should be, what actually is or is not happening, all of those things can have a huge effect on the conduct of business. And I've been hearing a little more piece by piece about why California is the way it is. And one of the issue with the California ports is there's not just any one particular issue as to why California is so screwed up. It is a multifaceted pot of just mess and ick and goo that in some cases, as far as I'm aware, is self-inflicted by the government of the state of California. I heard from a relative who shared an article with me through Facebook that one of the reasons that containers are not moving out of the ports of California, especially Southern California and Los Angeles in particular, is that California's restrictions on engines for semi-trucks is preventing owner-operators like myself, people who own older trucks that are predating certain model years or editions of engines are being denied access to California ports, meaning they can't come in and move individual containers or do multiple runs per day where they grab a loaded trailer in the morning they grab a loaded chassis in the morning with a container on it, take it to the customer, and from the customer return a trailer chassis with a container on it, either loaded with material for export or return the chassis with the empty on it so the container can go back into the pool and be reused by another customer, another shipper, what have you. Other elements to the issue, the problem is that the companies that specialize in moving intermodal freight, meaning containerized freight on chassis frames, they're having problems retaining drivers to actually do the job in the first place. Another factor, allegedly, is that because California has a restriction on how high containers can actually be stacked in a given storage yard or storage facility for those containers, there's not enough room in those facilities to accommodate the volume of containers coming off of the ships. As a result, they can't get the containers off of the ships into the storage yards because they can't stack them high enough to make room and keep things flowing in that regard. And then also, there's not enough companies that can retain drivers to keep those containers moving out of the port and to the customers or to the end user or to the warehouse where they can then be transloaded and shipped on down the line to the actual customer deeper in the country or wherever it's going, or also just transport them from the shipping port in some cases to the rail line, which may not have a line directly accessing the port, though in the case of Union Pacific and the BNSF, they have lines almost straight to those ships themselves, essentially, but they just can't get the freight moving because there's a number of issues and factors that are in the way that are causing problems with the freight actually getting out and on the way. So the whole problem is a combination of California regulations, drivers not willing to work or able to work, or companies not able to retain drivers because they're finding better jobs elsewhere, better paying jobs, easier work environments and conditions, more favorable working conditions depending on the situation, better hours, better home time, pick your poison in that regard. And of course, if owner-operators, especially the guys who like to drive the older trucks because they don't have the DPF systems, because they predate the emissions regulations, well, apparently California, if they're restricting the ability for non-emissions compliant trucks to access the ports, they're now denying the ability for hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of older truck operators from accessing the California ports, moving containerized freight to end users or customers or transshipment points or whatever the case may be, and thus the problem is just compounding, and it's like a multi-week or multi-month wait in the harbor of Los Angeles just to get into a dock to begin the process of offloading. So all of that is coming together to basically sustain the problem and provide no real solution anytime soon, because there's no really one solution that's going to just flip the switch and restore the natural order of business in those ports. It's a problem. I don't even fully understand the whole depth of the problem because I'm so far removed from it, and I have zero experience working in intermodal yards or with containerized freight. All I do is 53-foot dry van right now. I used to do 53-foot reefer every now and again for chemical transport or specialized transport that was required to be temperature controlled, but that was not grocery, more accurately. But even so, there's still an experience gap in my, repertoire, as it were, that there's just stuff I just haven't done yet as a truck driver or an owner-operator. But one can only hope that the politicians will begin to see reason. I know it's a fanciful thought. And regardless of their political affiliation, Democrat, Republican, moderate, libertarian, socialist, whatever, they will actually seek to enact policies and enact legislation and change or adopt or repeal regulations that are negatively impacting business, negatively impacting the end consumer, and negatively impacting the businesses that are in between the shipping lines for transoceanic transport and then the end users. So that being said, hopefully it all gets sorted out. But for now, I will see you guys down the road.